So maybe places where congratulations, we do on the chapbook, congratulations, if you're just going out. Fires open to the project, and there's also a couple of donation boxes filled around.
Tip your bartender.
Alright, I'm gonna do a little interlude here, so take one more time. We'll talk about the following, but some things like the city.
Take care. It's not wrong.
This is one of ours. I think it's by just one of ours. Oh, that's good. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Where is Dominique? Oh, there you are. I didn't see you.
Where is Dominique?
No, that's fair. Yeah. Tammy. We're just going around and seeing where everybody's at. Tammy, El Presidente, father. Can you grab your phone real quick? Yeah. Yes. Just doing a small little sound check to make sure our stream is working. Okay, so just checking, can you walk away to make sure that the sound and then we'll get going? Thank you all for being here. We're gonna have a more formal starting to this, but I just wanted to, like I said, do a little bit of a sound check to make sure that our sound is coming in clear for our live stream. This event will be live streamed through our event. Morgan, do we need to turn it up for? Okay. Okay, it's coming through our system. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and our sound is sound better, Morgan? Can you hear me back there? Eric, can you hear me? Good, okay. Holly, can you hear me? Wonderful, okay. Well, it looks like everything is kind of set up. If we want to fill into this center portion, you can either come up front or sit at the tables, but fill into the center portion, we're going to have our main event here. And to do some talking is Tammy, our president.
As Mitchell said, I'm Tammy. I'm the president of the TPL board. I'm going to announce the rest of the board, and if you are here, please stand up. So we have Tisha, who's the vice president, she's over there. Kendra is the treasurer. Jessica, a lovely bartender over there, she's the secretary. And we have Morgan and Nikki, who are board members. Thank you. Being part of our program. Okay, we're going to start with introducing the Susan Susan Lane Foundation. The Susan Lane Foundation was co-founded by siblings Ann Bastow Harrigan and Joe Bastow in 2013. Its goal is to create and highlight literary events in Northeast Michigan. SLF is committed to honoring community support, growing opportunities for individuals to find their voice, and to celebrate the written word through performance, reading, and shared appreciation. Please welcome the Susan Lane Foundation co-founder, Ann Harrigan.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming. Susan Lane Foundation has adored this space for many years, and our Aunt Susan Bastow, for whom the foundation is named, was one of the founders of Art in the Loft. So we love coming back here and spending time in this space. Yeah. I'm joined tonight by Susan's sister, Christy Bastow, who is a part of our foundation. So that's our Christy. And then we're so happy to have the Poetics Lab carry the torch and create more opportunities for performance, poetry, celebration of written word in Alpena. It's really awesome. Mitchell and I talked a couple of times about haiku, you know, are you going to do the haiku and let's do something? So we're so pleased to bring it back and partner with the Poetics Lab, especially after an election season with all the signage we've had to endure. It's nice to put some positivity out in our community in windows and on lawns. So we had a great amount of submissions. We're super excited to involve the community. We think haiku is a great way for people to start into poetry and getting interested in it. It's a fun exercise to do. So we hope to keep it going and growing. So thanks everybody for coming. I look forward to hearing your stuff tonight.
So next, I'd like to introduce TPL. And our mission is the Poetics Lab facilitates inclusive spaces for communities to engage with identity through poetry and performance of the self. And so next, I'd like to welcome the co-founders and co-executive directors, Mitchell Dubzinski. I have to say, he's my son. And Don Whit.
The Dubzinskis are very tall people. Unfortunately, I'm only semi-adopted, so I didn't get the tall genes. I think we got it. That sounds good. Wonderful. First of all, thank you for being here. We drove, me and Kat drove from Detroit. It was a snowy drive up I-75, and then I went Rose City, and that was not my intention. But we are here anyway. I just prefer Sandwich. It's just my preferred exit, but whatever. Couple of things before we ultimately get started for the evening. Thank you for coming for our Homes Haiku celebration. Announcement of the winners, which you have to wait. Sorry, you'll be fine. And then we're also celebrating our chapbook release. We've been doing this since 2021, January 14th. So it's been going for a while now, and I just love doing this with them because we're such good friends. Even when we're not doing poems, but especially when we're doing poems. And that was just my little speech, so I didn't tell you what I was going to do when we did the things on our paper.
I appreciate that.
So now you can do the cool stuff, like the thank yous. Yeah, let's start there.
Well, let's switch spots so that I don't have to talk over. So yes, we want to have a couple of thank yous before we get into our marvelous event. We've done, we've worked over the past year with countless people and several community partners and businesses. And so I just want to give a couple of thank yous for tonight. So Art in the Loft, of course, thank you for letting us have this space. Susan Lane Foundation has been a partner with us over the last couple of years, more so than just the Homes Haiku. But we've done readings together, we've done a lot. They've acted as mentors, friends, teachers, all of the above. So thank you to Joe Basto and Inheriting the Susan Lane Foundation. Thank you to the Community Foundation for Northeast Michigan, the Women's Giving Circle and Community Impact Grants. They both provided us funding this year to host events such as this.
Thank you for giving us money.
Yes, money is important. Walmart Spot Good grants and also the lovely food and various different funding that we've had throughout the year. So thank you to Walmart and the lovely community there. Thank you to our music tonight, Tranquil Trauma. We have Peter and Morgan. Peter was our lovely pianist at the beginning and then moved over to guitar. And Morgan is not only our board member, but also an esteemed singer, songwriter, and all the above. So give a hand to them. We've got several other community businesses, Pitt Cider, Blue Moon Cafe, Alpina Agency, and several other, including the bookstores, the library, several community partners here that there are too many that I can't really thank all of them. But I just want to thank Alpina in general. Thank you all for being here and supporting us, and thank you to all of our partners. And before we get into a lot of our, our normal programming, I do want to see or talk a little bit. There we go. Talk a little bit about some of our events. So these are some photos from all of our events that we've held. We've done a lot this year. Dominique and I have put in well over 1,100 hours. We just calculated that today. So that's not including the hours that we're putting in. And honestly, we don't even log all of the hours that we do.
It would scare me.
Yeah. But we've done a lot. So I just want to talk a little bit about what XM has done in both Alpena and in the communities of Detroit and Hamtramck. So in Alpena, we've held at least one event every month since January, including an inaugural Pride paddle with Noah, a Homes Haiku competition, an after-school poetry club, and we even brought the Poet Laureate of Michigan, Nandi Comer, to Michigan, or to Alpena. In Detroit and Hamtramck, we hold 3 events a month. We have Flowers Detroit, Wordplay and Libations, Book Suey workshops, and then we've also started a new event that will become, I do believe, a yearly event. Hopefully crossing fingers. It is called the Midwest States of Being, a poetry micro tour. It's also, for sure, we call it a gig trail. And we've kicked that off. This engagement was supported by Arts Midwest Gig Fund, a program of Arts Midwest that was funded by the National Endowment of the Arts, with additional contributions from Michigan and Ohio State Arts Council. And where we are, our first event was in Book Suey with Kat. Where's Kat?
I saw them in sequin.
Kat stepped away for a second, but Kat is one of our lovely volunteers here. Kat from Book Suey and another individual who works with the bookstore in Ohio. We started this gig trail, and we'll be doing another event in April to kind of wrap and finalize this this kind of pair of events up. And then next year, starting hopefully in the fall, we'll be doing a gig trail that includes Alpena, Detroit, and Ohio. So we'll be bringing poets from all across the state up to our lovely little community. So yeah, those are all of the events that we've been doing in Alpena and Detroit and Hamtramck. We've done, it's been such an honor working with all of you and working with the communities that we've been working in. And it has been just absolutely amazing being here. With all of these events, we have to talk a little bit about our fundraising. And so we have raised $22,498.30 to date. This was totaled as of today.
Before the event started.
Before the event started. Yes, you're correct. And this was out of a $15,000 goal. So we set $15,000 at the beginning of the year, and the community showed. No, not today. Not today. Over the course of the year. Yeah. Yep. And so, we're really super happy about, the amount of support that you all have shown. This is in-kind donations, several $1,000s of in-kind, where people give us space and provide us, you know, the platform to do what we do. This includes cash donations and then also grants that we've written and, been awarded. So we wouldn't be able to do, what we do without contributions like this. One thing that we are pushing for is to do a fundraising event kind of tonight, for $1,200. So, as an operational kickoff for next year. So $1,200 will give us, $100 towards each of our events, or each of our monthly, programming that we do next year. So if we can reach the $1,200 tonight, that'd be absolutely wonderful. And yeah, so we will have, board members walking around with boxes for donations and things like that at intermission. And then there are also ways, if you want to donate by card, we can get that set up as well.
One of these days, we're gonna come up with a better little sidestep action there. But the other reason that we bring you here is for the chapbook release. So each year, since 2021, we've been out here publishing books. We're good at it, but I will say that this is probably the coolest one we've objectively ever made. It was so good that the lovely people who print our books said it was good. So I'm gonna take that as the highest compliment of the land ever. A couple of cool random stats about the book, because I'm a book nerd. It's got 40 pages of poetry, which is like a lot of poems. But we were putting the the document together, just kept going in terms of pages. And then I said, Mitchell, I think we have gone over budget. There's a lot of pages in here that I didn't anticipate, which means so that that's more people getting engaged with poetry. That's more people willing to write poetry, willing to share their poetry. And of course, just more times to have fun. So if we want to have more pages of poetry next year, I'm all for it. I'm down to have 100 pages of poetry. Well, yes. Yes, just speaking into it. But we've got 19 poets and 15 of them are actually going to be our workshop participants. Are going to be hearing from some of them later this evening. And then we've got 11 story spotlights. So story spotlights, those are our local businesses and partners that are in the back of our book that wanted to share their story, the folks that we partner with for events, and also they help make this first book, this first print possible. And this year we're really excited because not only is it pretty, Carol designed this. She won our cover art contest. She's also here. So yeah, we can get her.
Thank you, Carol.
She did something. And just by you this decision. It's also got like an ISBN because like we're fancy. It's bound. We're no longer just like ratchet and stable. So we are out here with our lives. But the really cool thing is that this book is also going to be sold in bookstores. So that means that we get to sell it at Book Suite, where Kat is a member owner. We get to sell it at 27th Letter and Next Chapter, which are both bookstores in the city of Detroit. And we get to sell it at Parallel 45. So like we are out here selling books, making books, and you should get one. You should get one with us. You should get one in general. But that is kind of the book ordeal. I know we've been working, we've been tired, but we would do it all again. We would do it all again. Now we're gonna kind of move gears. We're really gonna shift this into our folks that are gonna be reading from our chapbook. So give me like 1 second. Nikki has the list. Nikki is one of our lovely board members. She's also featured in almost all of the books at this point, all but the first. And so I'm gonna have Mitchell step away for the briefest moment because he's up first. So I'm giving him just like a little bit of time to mentally prepare himself. Because he's also gonna steal my copy of the book that I have right there. But the first poet coming to the stage is not only one of my absolute best friends, but as my mother tells me, I will never find anyone who treats me as nicely as Mitchell does, and vice versa. But I give you none other than Mitchell Dubczynski. You can snap for him.
Hello. I'm going to be reading both the poems that I have. They're short in the book. I also want to talk a little bit about the book. I forgot to put this in our about on our agenda here. So my uncle passed away earlier in August. And so we did a little bit of a dedication of him, and I wrote a poem for him and put it in here. So I'm gonna read that as a part of this as well. And it's called A Story of Water and Sand. Tan lines on your feet, a story of water and sand and waves of bliss. In memory of Jason Rensberry, a loving father, husband, son, brother, and uncle, you will truly be missed by all, and your impact on this community is not gone unnoticed. So yeah, a lot of what I've been doing this fall has been really dedicated to him to try to live up to the impact that he's made. So here's some poems. Good times. This is called Faded Tomes of Prozac Riddled Rituals. I sit in the clearing, insatiable and unappeasable, grasping for neurons dulled by medications, yearning for the mountains, but knowing the fall could kill me. Then this one would have been my submission to Holmes Haiku if I was allowed to submit. This one is called Driftwood. Driftwood, a mountain atop memories of water, leaving lines in sand. And so up next, we have Dom, the lovely, lovely Dom. She has traveled super far to get here, all the way from Detroit. And she told me very abruptly that it was going to be the last time. I don't believe her. During the winter, at least. Last time during the winter. But I don't believe her. She's going to come up for next year's Chapbook release. But Dom, come on up.
The microphone situation is just always comical. Well, I took this book to find my my poem. The last thing I'll say is that this book takes a long time. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, late nights. But this book in particular is probably my favorite just because people who made it are so kind and so generous, but also I just feel like this book is when I felt like we did it. Like the things that we set out to do as an organization, I felt like this was the first year I'm like, we completed our goals. We got to come up with new goals because we really, we have surpassed everything we thought we would do, everything we thought this organization could and would be for other people. And so I say all that to say, because I know we got a couple of our younger folks with us. Just do the thing that scares you and then figure out how to do it later. You'll find out how to do it once you're on the journey, but just do that thing and just go out and write a poem. It's good for you. Here's a poem called Eye of the Void, because I was feeling real poetic with titles. It's on page 13 if you're feeling like you really want to follow along so you too can find out when I make mistakes. But Eye of the Void. Like most degenerate bike rides and shade patches and hairlines, hindsight is 20/20. Most days I avoid full frontal, too much desk trying to disguise what I already know to be true. Mama wants to know if I call myself beautiful. I own pictures of my bones, heart, and cloudy spaces between beauty be damned or glorified. This shell prefaces my legacy. Blobbage, blobbed on more blobbage. I was supposed to write a self-portrait, but can't remember where they buried my sisters. Tried pulling the report online, but subscriptions are killing America one automatic payment at a time. Trauma, sometimes trouble. Trauma is a well-committed debt collector who cares not for euphemisms or preferred meeting spaces. I wanted to write a happy poem. No flowers, just something that didn't tug at grief before the distance. Before I've taught men folk the key to my center, I like to imagine myself whole. Now, I will also find my haiku that I wrote that I also did not submit because it's not illegal to like judge a competition that you're in, but it's not really kind either. It's like wild by one. But this one's called While I Lay Dreaming. Unclaimed earth below, speckled light show, dancing crowd for one night only. Yep. Mitchell stole my list. He could hand that back at the man from beyond the country. Our next poet coming to the stage is probably one of the sweetest and kindest people that I know. Not only did she birth Mitchell, but she also keeps us like alive in the best way possible. So not only does she feed us, but she literally makes sure that we are doing well in the brain. And so I invite none other than our president, our lovely Tammy Dipsonski. If you walk along the walls, we're gonna snap and clap all the way up. Because no, keep going. She's making her way. It's a long journey. You gotta go around all the art in the law. And there you go. Yeah.
So, the first one I also did not do. It's titled Loss. Blazing of the eyes, blink away the unwanted tears of lasting grief. And then we had a class on metaphors, and I really didn't know what I was going to write, so I looked up metaphor and kind of just used a whole bunch of different things to create metaphors. Say what? A bat in the cave, a wild and free dingleberry of the nose, one might say. You sit there conversing, and not with one, but with what seems like a ton. While stares begin to loom, no one shares with you the gigantic gray elephant in the room.
It's always very funny because she walks away from that poem laughing at herself, and it brings me so much joy. Up next, we've been forgetting to do the on deck situation. But on deck, we have, or not on deck, up next, we have Miss April reading for another participant of ours, Holly. And on deck, we have Jessica. So our lovely bartender will have to make her way over here. So we'll pause drinks here in a second. But April, you want to come on up? Also, I don't think I mentioned this. We are focusing on poems directly written in this chapbook for the first half of our overlay. So these poems are written here. If you like what you hear, you can go up to our front desk. They are $22 each. And yeah, you can go and get the book and you can see where all of these lovely poems are written. Thank you, April.
I'm April. I am the mother of Holly Beal, who you don't understand why she has to come up here. Well, thank you. When I read this, her poem is entitled "A Poem That Totally Doesn't Correlate with My Mental Health" by Holly Beal. I would write something about the anxiety or how puberty is the worst thing that ever happened in American history, but I won't because I have anxiety, dumbass.
I'm not saying that I have favorite workshop participants. I'm not. Up next, we've got Jessica. You picked up what I'm putting down. And then on deck, we've got Kat. So Jessica, if you can make your way to the stage, we'll snap it and clap it up for Jessica. Oh! Also singing apparently in between folks because I kind of be like Morgan with the cups. Like y'all didn't see it, but we got that cups on us. I was banging.
Yeah.
Here comes Jessica. Thank you, thank you. I moonlight as a poet, bartender during the day. I'm gonna read one of my poems that I wrote in the workshop this summer. I just say how much, I just want to shout out the Poetics Lab for how amazing the workshop has been for me personally. I was someone who studied poetry and wrote it for so long, and then kind of like put it on the back burner. It was not something I had the time for. So having come to Alpena, having the Poetics Lab, being able to write again, has been really awesome. And so one more round of applause for the Poetics Lab for providing 3 opportunities for members of the community to write and print poetry, which is amazing. So I'm gonna read, I don't know why I'm nervous. This is a poem called Today is My Birthday. Mom asked, "What do you want?" And I told her nothing. Just want to spend the day tying up my thick tomato stalks. I learned online that blushing tomatoes are when you clip the not quite ripe fruit and let it slow burn inside a paper bag. In just 1 week, a deep red should form. Should I believe this TikTok video? Then I wonder, if I had given myself enough rest and darkness, would I have become what I always knew I could be? Washing my hands of garden dirt, I look in the mirror and see dyed highlights and gold hoops, pink flowers on a gray shirt. Is this what 38 looks like? I think of the green tomatillos my little brother grows in a raised bed. The stems are so tall, they reach past his privacy fence. It's not even August yet, and I fume, then remember he's in a warmer climate. Would a tomato by any other name be as red? In my birthday card, Mom gave me old photos of myself, age 6, thick bangs and a black cardigan drape my chubby frame. I smile and tell that little girl, someday you'll have a tomato harvest to be proud of. Thank you.
So, we have, Kat up next. Kat is a member owner of Book Suite, one of our partners in Hamtramck. We're very excited to have her all the way up here. And then on deck, we have Nikki. Yes.
No, it's awesome to be here.
There you go, hey.
Hey, works when you use it. Although I would really like to emphasize that it has been an amazing time partnering with the Poetics Lab at Book Suite. So Book Suite is a cooperatively run bookstore. 15 of us democratically make decisions, every decision about that bookstore, what goes on our shelves, how we keep them on our shelves, right? None of us get paid to do it. We do a ton of programming. We have touring artists. We have the gig trail that you saw earlier, which again was an amazing experience on top of an amazing experience. Through the funding and through the help of Poetics Lab, we paid every artist to be on that stage. We paid their housing and travel because it's really important. Art should be free to consume, but artists do need to be paid for what they do. Period. And working with the Poetics Lab is a dream because this is also how the Poetics Lab feels, right? We are more human when we have access to our creativity, and not everybody gets to have that. I like to help the cause through just creating space and placeholding in our bookstore. And Poetics Lab comes in and is like, hey, you know what? We're going to do some events. We're going to help you out. We're going to have this gig trail. We're going to do all these things. And it's just truly a wonderful thing, right? And I get to come hang out in Alpena like, every couple of months. I guess it's what we decided was my second time here in like 2 months, right? Yeah. Weird. Anyway, so I just wanted to wax poetic on about that. Also, if you're ever down in the Detroit, Hamtramck area, come chill at Book Suite. We got weird hours because, like I said, nobody gets paid to be there, so it's like after work hours. But if you're ever in the area, come see us. We got a bunch of cool stuff going on. We have readings. We have free drop-in writing clubs. We got a lot of stuff to do, and we have really free mediocre coffee. This poem. All right, this poem. I don't know if you're familiar with the Shel Silverstein poem called "It's All the Same to the Clam." It was my favorite poem when I was a kid. And so this seems like a natural homage to the poem. It's all the same to the crunch wrap. For Shel Silverstein. Drive it like you stole someone's car keys, will return with something supreme, supreme, supreme. Learn how to manage expectations, cold and wilted, warm and thick, something firm and surprising to the tooth. It's all the same to the crunch wrap. Quick and dirty like a hot box in the drive-through, supreme, supreme, supreme. Whether it's made on the east side, alley routes and service drives from high school to gooey stolen freedom, or on the west side, a queso life raft floating between family dinners, diced up disappointment. Luck that got laid off and replaced by contract to contract fortune. Put it in a tortilla and press, supreme, supreme, supreme. Let the first bite slide down your face. It's all the same to the crunch wrap. Reserve your spot out by the dumpster to make out or hide your shame. Engine running, supreme, supreme, supreme. The emotional opposite of a plate face down. It's all beans or meat or an order of your own design. It's all the same in the crunch wrap. A joke like, you can't do anything in Michigan without a car. Jokes hurt when they're true. The difference between a New Yorker and a Flint kid, I'm from Flint. A New Yorker and a Flint kid crossing the street, hey, I'm walking here, versus hit me. I'm halfway there. A blinking hand is an ambiguity, supreme, 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 unless it clutches a crunch wrap. The world may stop and the world may spin. Spend $5 to begin again, a mundane rapture or ground wire from mouth to dopamine. It's all the same to the crunch wrap.
Sorry, we were whispering.
Secrets to my friends.
So many crunch wraps. My favorite thing about that whole situation is that, I mean, Kat is just brilliant. This will be the last love letter to Kat today. I'm sure I'll write more one day. But Kat is being extremely modest today. We say like we wrote that game, but first of all, Kat wrote the majority of the grant. Let's start there. Two, Kat and I were up until 11:59 p.m. on the dot trying to get this grant in. We were like, we had it on the Wi-Fi of my phone, the personal hotspot, like computer up on the steering wheel, trying to get this grant in. So
Parked on the side of the street in Detroit at like 11:30 to midnight.
it was a very stressful time.
Wait, that's Oxford comma.
I hate Oxford commas. Nikki loves an Oxford comma, but that's, and more. I don't know how to, you're all getting kicked out. This is a no Oxford comma situation. This is so comical. All right, so up next, we've got the wonderful, the illustrious Nikki. And then on deck, we've got Nikki's partner in crime, Morgan. And then also, I know those are like the official last poets, but also after Morgan, if there's anybody else who's in the book and they forgot to sign up for the list, or now the poetic spirit has moved you into courage and you want to read and you are in the book, just like come find us and we'll get you on our little listy list. But come on up here, Nikki, and grace us with your love.
That is exciting. I stumbled upon the Poetics Lab at the release of their first chapbook. So being here is just kind of awesome. And if I hadn't found them, I would have gone crazy after coming back to Helvina. On that note, I can English. I write words. One of the pillars of our, mission and all of that is identity. And normally I'm raging against the machine, which is why I listed a Morris partner in crime. We tend to rage. But when you go to the workshop, they pull you out of your comfort zone and amazing things happen. And so I'm going to read one of the identity poem that landed in this book. It is called Autobiograph-ish. I wanted to be a mechanic just like Dad, to be a singer, Madonna when she was like a virgin, to understand why that song on the Purple Rain vinyl felt awkward, to be Punky Brewster, Blossom, Topanga, Mary Moon, to have braids with the beads at the end like the kids down the road before I understood appropriation, to have short hair. Mom said, "You look like a blonde Chinese." I finally got that haircut, shorter. That house on Keller Avenue in Flint was infested. I learned Nix was a dirty word and laundry killed more than the spirit. I was an early reader, but shy and pissed that they put me in the lowest reading group at the new school. Mom did the braids, no beads. Dad said, "You look like Beetlejuice." I wanted to be in all the advanced classes and get all A's. I was for a minute. I didn't. To be in love, or at least heavily in like. Mom said, "You've been middle-aged since you were born." I wanted to do stand-up despite the fright of all eyes on me. To build scenery on Broadway. To be a bass player in a metal rock punk blues band, just like Mom. I wanted combat boots and Cher's clueless closets. All of the books and crystals at Blue Moon Gallery and Alpena Mall. To be Alanis, Fiona, Shania, when they were voices of a generation and of power. To be the manic panic scream girl in the broomstick skirts. Some boy said, "Hey, you're not dressed like a secretary today." I'm still looking for the photo of Mr. Lingus holding a can of Spam at the podium in world history class. I wanted to teach English, no Spanish, no life, no way. To see and be in the world, to advocate, to travel, to emigrate. I wanted to look like a chick, a chic punk rock 80s lesbian, despite being none of those things, and immortality. But it always comes back to the hair.
So a little bit before I introduce Morgan, Nikki mentioned the whole thing about us pushing people through their, out of their comfort zone in the open mic. I do also want to say a little bit about Holly. Hi, Holly. Can you wave your hand? Holly, I think, has been probably pushed the furthest, but she has been absolutely amazing. Just was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Not only did she write 4 poems at our after school poetry club, but she actually got up and read them and did all of that. So I just want to thank Holly. Holly's been here for a very long time working with us, and she came to our workshop. And I know Dominique said that we don't have favorite workshop participants.
You know.
But but thank you, Holly. Everybody give one round of applause for Holly and all of our workshop participants this year. They have been absolutely amazing in that. The work that they do is absolutely stunning. And to finish that up, our final open mic person of this first half is Morgan. And then we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up.
Yeah, big sexy. All right, so this is my second year in the chapbook. Last year I had 2. I've only got 1 in it this year, and I'm gonna read that. It's called Ode to Our Library. Look how solid you are, a bright shining star, an intelligence fortress, endless halls of knowledge, towering walls of power, literacy at its highest peak, literally fortified majesty. Those opposed have got to be kidding. Education material turned kid betting, the real groomers of America, rationalizing an actual agenda, under-informing, over-sexualizing, not just theirs either, every child. Hell, I even heard a howl from their side of the aisle. Condemn all they like. They're both on the same side of the fight because we all must live in denial and fright of basic bodily functions, hence these injunctions, right? Instead of focusing on anything else, they storm the gates themselves. The crusading minority, pillaging minorities, that war machine regime, they plot their plan accordingly for a cornerstone, stronghold siege, and all the common sense between. And don't sweat the underneath. Moat dwellers grit their teeth in catacombs buried deep, flotsam beneath the peat. Them being chud is not enough. We all must skirmish with worms, be one, gleefully unaware as long as we all don't see. For them, unfortunately, the enlightened majority are above that strategy, so that will never be.
All right, so, first of all, y'all are great, and I'm jealous. Also, I don't know. Nikki and Morgan also have books. Like they published their first, like Morgan published her first book this year and then Nikki published her first book going to be 2 years ago now. And I love that like y'all are published poets out here. Like I just, so if you want to talk to them about your books and how you can like find these wonderful things, you should talk to them. We are going to shift gears ever so slightly. We're gonna talk a little bit about fundraising and then we're gonna take the quickest intermission of your entire life. 5 minutes, and I'm gonna set a timer because I don't trust it. And the reason that we're doing the quickest intermission in the world is because we got some announcements, mostly who on earth won this haiku contest and who's getting money. Some of them know because they have signs, but they don't know where they are in the pecking order quite yet. Because we got prizes, mostly money and signs and a book. But we'll talk about all that after the situation happens. I'm gonna turn it over to Mitchell for fundraising and then we'll do an intermission.
So yeah, we're gonna have some lovely board members walking around with little purple buckets. Like I said, we're trying to raise $1,200, $1,200 tonight. So if you're able, please, if anything helps. We're just trying to get as close to that $1,200 goal as possible tonight. It would be absolutely wonderful. And like I said, that is going towards our programming for next year, kind of as like a kickstart for next year. So that is going to be absolutely wonderful. Kat has one of the purple bins. She's going to be walking around with it. If you have money, you can drop it in there. Thank you so much. And we will be coming back after a brief 5-minute intermission. And then if you want to sign up for the second half of our open mic, after we do our Homes Haiku announcements, we're going to be doing another part of our open mic. So any of the Homes Haiku winners, if you want to read, you can come up here and read your haiku. Or if you have any other pieces, this is where we're going to open it up to the community for general open mic time. So yeah, we'll take our brief 5-minute intermission starting now. Thank you, folks.
I got a letter.
If we can make our way back to our seats, please. We're gonna get started here in a couple of minutes, if we just get our way back. A minute. Find your way back home, as Kat says. And remember, as you find your way back, please donate. We need money. So. And Downey, are you ready? You start. And Downey?
Alrighty, folks, if you can make your way back to your seating arrangements or still someone else's seat, it's musical chairs. You move your feet. You lose your seat. But welcome back. The time that you have all been waiting for is upon you. We ought to release the winners of the Homes Haiku contest. Oh yeah, there's money on the line. We received a lot. It was like over 50. If my memory serves me correct, I want to say it was 56 submissions from all across the state of Michigan. And so it was hard. It took us time. We read a lot of poems. And also you'll see some names that maybe you know and maybe you don't. And I just want you to know, we took all the names and all the cities of all the places. So it was a very fair competition. Just telling you this now so you don't think there's any foul play. I have the duty of kind of announcing the beginning portion. So we've got 17 winners because 575, we thought we'd be cute. I get the honor and glory of announcing the top 5. The top 5, and we will, this is all love here. The top 5, they get $50 each. To collect your money, also come find me. I need to write you a check. And if you're not here, we will get you your check. You get your yard sign displayed in Alpena. Have you all seen the yard signs? They're pretty. You should go on a scavenger hunt, take pictures with all of them. You get published in the 2024 Homes Haiku zine, which should be coming out in 2025. You get featured on the Susan Lane Foundation website, and that will all be live on Monday. And you get a poster that's gonna go up at Booksui. It's not an individualized poster, so we can't do like 12 posters across the whole window, so it's kind of a lot. It's 2 posters, 6 on each. But that is for our top 5. So we can do round of applause, or drum roll, there we go, drum roll. In no particular order. It's 5, but it's not 1 through 8, it's 5. Jessica Kaiser. From the Green Sarah Waters. Doug Bliss. Christy Johnson. And Zachary T. Our host, the first 4 people in that list are from Alpena, and then Zachary is from Ypsilanti. I've never met Zach, but we're about to be friends because he's getting money. Again, if you're here, come find me for your money, but then I'll switch it over to Mitchell to do our notable 7.
So also, the top 5 notable 7s, not only do they get their yard signs, well, we keep the yard signs, but they have the yard signs around, but you all will have and see your posters around here at the end of the night. If you are one of the top 5 or notable 7, and you see your poster on one of the tables, you can take those as well. We'll ship out the remaining posters to the individuals who are here tonight. Notable 7, they each get $25 each, a yard sign displayed in Alpena, page in the 2024 Homes Haiku zine, featured on the SLF website, and again, be one of the 12 individuals displayed on a poster in Hamtramck at Brook-Suey. These notable 7, and again, in no particular order, are Morgan Shushan, about that. B.R. Charette from Roger City. Piper Lane from Osme. Gretchen St. Gretchen from Clinton Township. Molly Stepansky from Posen. Mrs. Kaditha Truth from Detroit. And Jared Caleb from Holland, Michigan. And so again, as you see your poster, please go ahead and take those at the end of the night. And to announce our 5 honorable mentions, we have Anne Harry from the Susan Lane Foundation.
Great job, everybody. We have 5 great honorable mentions for Homes Haiku 2024, and they are, in no particular order. Claire Witt from Alpena. Amy Payback from DeWitt. Tammy Dzerzhinsky from Osney. Simon Elba from Hamtramck. And Richard Rensbury from Fairview. The people can all over the page. Thanks for everyone.
So those honorable mentions as well, the 5 honorable mentions that we just announced, will also be published in the zine. That will be coming out. Oh, and then also featured on SLF website on Monday as well. So those 12 poets will be 17 poets. Sorry, I can do math. 17 will be published and published on the website as well. So we're really excited about that. The Homes Haiku zine will be out early 2025. We don't have an exact date. We're getting through the editing of all of that. But yeah, early 2025. That zine will be hand-bound and published by an independent publishing press down out of Detroit. And Dominique, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Very brief. They're cool. They're sisters. And we got the Women's Giving Circle grant. Because we got like these beautiful women to like hand bind these journals, and they're like, we'll do it for free. And I said, what? No, we can't have you like hand stitch all these journals. So we were able to write them into the grant, so they'll get paid for their work. But of course, if you're in the book, we'll give you a book for free, like we always do. But for the rest of you, it is only $10. Only $10 for a hand-bound book. But that will also be available in bookstores that we are at. That is the simple thing there, because I'm trying to rush this part so that we can get some more poems. Because I know it's getting late. My bedtime is a strong 10 p.m. All right, so moving right along, we've got an open mic. We've got some names on a list. And first up on our list is Holly. So Holly picked me. And it's so fun. And again, we don't have favorites. But Holly wins our hearts. She also designed the ink eater because she's just like so nice. I'm gonna stop gushing over Holly. One day, not today. I'm also standing here because it's a long walk. It's a lot of uneven planks of wood. Here you go, Holly. You can come over here. Okay.
Wise man once said, big sexy anyway. The Best Day Ever by Holly Beale. Here I am writing a poem as I listen to the best song ever, The Best Day Ever, from SpongeBob SquarePants original soundtrack. Why? Because I have writer's block and I'm just writing down what I'm doing because it sounds poetic. Also, the title is supposed to hype you up for the most boring piece of writing you've ever heard. It'll work.
Our next poet, you've met him before, I believe. I don't know, have you met this guy, Mitchell? He's like yay tall, possibly. Oh, his phone's over there. I lied. Hold up. We're gonna move this list around. So Nikki, you're up. And then on deck is Jessica. So Nikki, where are you, my love? Nikki, the keeper of the list, the keeper of books, the keeper of words. I present to thee, Nikki.
So before I begin with my work, I was asked to read something from an anonymous community member, so I'm gonna do that real quick. And it is untitled, and I'm pretty sure it was written today at the lobby camera over there.
Yeah.
And that is just super fun, but they wish to remain anonymous. So, clink, clink, I can't think. Sometimes life sure does stink. Quick, pour another drink. Don't drink and drive, distracted driving. The banned as offensive by Alpena County Library staff because of citizen complaint whiteboard 2019. Implicit bias, nowhere in haiku does it say an alcoholic drink. It could be an overheated farmer, gardener, praying for rain and wants iced tea. We haven't talked about this yet, and I really don't know if I'm supposed to, but if you go to tpoeticslab.com, sometimes you can find merch. Sometimes you accidentally get something that matches your hair perfectly. All right. And in the art of shameless self-promotion, they did mention my book. It's called Rhythmic Rage, Cries for Our Times. You can find a copy of it over at the front of the, I don't know, the first art wall over there. I also brought a copy of Morg's book because I don't know if he did. And finally, the important part, poetry. And last year I landed on the State Library, so I gotta find it here. And this is another one where they took me out of my comfort zone and made me think about my identity. And I ended up loving it as I, bawled my eyes out at the sofa on Piff Cider as I was finishing it up right before publication. It's called Time Traveling to Talk to Myself. They had asked us to write a letter to our younger selves in the workshop. Look, the transitional years of junior high are capital A awkward for everyone. But do your best not to let them define you. Don't let others define you. Authentic self feels like a bullshit phrase made up by guidance counselors in the therapy industry. Call it something else if you want, but be who you are, as much as you figure it out anyway, down to the fucking marrow. And do the therapy. Try new things. Do things that scare you. If one doesn't fit, try it 2 more times. Once in a different context, once with different people. It doesn't matter which people because you're likely to remain connected to only 1 or 2. Get out of town. Get out of the country. And sometimes get out of your own head. Don't let your friend convince you to agree to a relationship you have no interest in just so you have a hand to hold at lunch and on the too short break between classes for a week until you're over the performance of it. The strongest relationship you have, both now and later, should be with yourself. Rebel, but rebel responsibly. Avoid anything that leaves a lasting impact. Try the weed, but maybe skip the harder stuff. The worst you get is a craving for junk food and some wacky dreams. Or don't. No one gives a shit. And if they do, tell them exactly where they can go. Which reminds me, use your voice. Sure. Keep the lid handy when quiet rage threatens to boil over and words feel like weapons on your tongue. But raise your voice rather than your fist when it's important. Despite how satisfying punching that kid who sits behind you in English class might have been. There are more important things to fight for and better ways to fight. And you should fight for equality, for those who can't fight for themselves or yourself. Sunscreen, always. Condom, always. You won't find your sense of self-worth in another person, and virginity is a social construct. Purity culture is a means of control by the patriarchy. No is a complete sentence. Set boundaries and cut off anyone who steps over that margin with intent. Friend, foe, even family. Hell, especially family. They should know better. That said, give mom and dad a break once in a while. You don't feel it now because parents, am I right? But when you lose them both in a 2-year window you're ready to jump out of, don't. You'll feel like a middle-aged orphan. And please, I beg you, leave the box dye on the shelf. And now I'm going to give you the shortest poem I've ever written. Laughter is the best medicine, and one S away from slaughter. And bitch, I slay.
Also, you're so cool. I'm a bad host. I forgot to do all these rules. Not regulations, but just like ways to be in love. The first way to be in love at an open mic is that when you hear something that you love, you have to tell the poets, because otherwise we think you hate us. We thrive on external validation only. So when you hear something you like, give a snap. Can I get some snaps? There we go. When you hear something, you can give a clap, you can give an amen. Sister, you can stomp so loud that they can hear us at it. That is the level of enthusiasm that all poets need and desire and thrive upon. So like, that's step one. The other thing, we call it the don't boss up, admire rule. When someone shares a story, they may be feeling very comfortable to share it right here, right now on this very here podium. And of course, because this is being live streamed, it will be on the internet as well. But that does not mean that in normal life, when they're just trying to sift through their produce, that they would like to get bombarded with your random questioning. So like, don't. Unless someone invites that into their life. That is the only time that you should do that. Nikki is always welcoming you to ask questions. Everyone else is not giving you carte blanche, you get that inside. I feel like those are the most important ones of that. And then also too, for what you should be reading. We gotta keep this brief because like it's getting late. No more than 3 minutes, 2-ish poems. I say 2-ish because if it's a really, really short one, then I'll allow for it. But I'm talking like haiku short. No more than 17 syllables. You caught up at 18, it's like checkmate. Or the other one, the Oscars, there we go. I know my situations. All of that, moving forward, our next poet coming up to the stage is Jessica, and then Morgs, you're on deck. So Jessica is walking up. You can come through the center too. That way we can get the really dramatic walk on our lovely YouTube channel. This is also an acceptable thing. For folks to do. I'm just stalling here, as you can tell. I'm doing so good at it, you don't even know that it's awkward happening. And now there's a pit stop with the yield sign. Oh, you're here, you know, come forward. Yay, Jessica! Woo. Now I'm just calling out introverts, like we actually want to walk in front of people. So I'm gonna read one more poem. It's been a work in progress. I've kind of been working on it at the table tonight. It's about my grandmother's house, which I hosted every winter. And so it's weird living in a place that you're so familiar with, but have never lived in before. So this poem is kind of just a jumble of different memories and thoughts. It's very much a work in progress. It's called The House. Teenagers smoked in the basement, slept on the couch in the spare bedroom as I did when my life fell apart. And grandma was there to make me pasta as I colored at the table, as she did for the kids sleeping on her couches, the teenagers too high in the lowest level of her house. thankful they were at least sheltered. Those old winter coats hanging just inside the garage door from poets, professors, and drug dealers, they've all come through these doors. The smell of cold October apples sends me into its photo albums, and it's 2022 Grandpa's funeral, and everyone is getting high in the basement again. Or their 50th wedding anniversary, and my little cousin is sneaking tequila, or it's grandma listening to mom as they swing under the big red maple, fireflies around their crowns. It has a smell that I can't describe, but every time I smell it, I'm 5 years old, standing at the back step, grandpa kissing my forehead as he readies to leave for the night shift. Now the landline rings as I bake in the kitchen watchtower alone, a robot voice announcing spam risk, grandpa's old flannel, my apron. Thank you.
So up next, we have Morgan, and then I finally got my poems ready, so I will be on deck.
Oh, together.
Yeah, I'm, hey, here we are. Come on up, welcome Morgan, board member at large, musician extraordinaire, singer, songwriter, all of the above, great, lovely person. Thank you, Morgan.
I'm gonna take some liberties, because I'm gonna read for 2 people. So I might do 6 poems, but they're all really short, I promise, okay? So, Miss VR Charette is here tonight, and, she was one of the 7 vegetables with me. And I got permission to read her 2 submissions. So the one that was picked is called Huron Light. Moonlight, lake charms cast, witches weave their magic spells, Michigan star glow. Her second entry was called Sunrise Side. Sunrise on the waves, golden hues upon the lake, Great Lakes mighty roar. And then my haiku submissions. The one that was picked is called Guardian Lighthouse. A stone eye will spy what little peninsulas and sharp shorelines hide. The other one was called Shipwreck's Lament. Sunken bodies haunt like forgotten memories once told to the tides. And then I did that because VR also designed the cover of my book here. This is Marijuana Sounds and I'm Procrastinating. I do have a couple copies on me if you'd like to buy one. They're $15. You can get them on Amazon. You can also get digital for $10.
Only $15.
Only $15. And there's 40 poems in here, just like the Chapbook, and they're charging way more for that. Buy both. I have a tendency to write poems for people that don't deserve it. So I'm gonna read one out of here, and then I'm gonna read a new one I wrote. They're short, I promise. This one's called Space for You. The stars told me how proud of you they were. A blur of flickering flares like an optical cosmic telegraph, so bright it could bring those faint of sight to see. The pulse of the shock waves enough to bring anyone to their knees. For you. A speck of insignificance existing in limitless independence. The heavens dance for you tonight. I know, they told me. So however lonely the gravity, the weight of that black hole, or empty the shades of dark, matter. At least to someone who will listen when the skies shout praises, Superman. I share your solar nocturne, so you may know it's love. And I wrote this about the same person. I literally finished this the other day. It's called I Felt This at 5:01, November 28th, 2024. I've seen you happy, content in the moments surrounding the minutes of time spent with each other. The caress of a lover under cover of night that threatens to smother the way it leaves no air, sucking and gasping the very essence from the worries you brought and laid before me. Like an ancient map that leads to your grief, tattered and creased, I charted a course, and the wake it caused left remorse with ease. A calm you can seize, you take it and glow, and then you just go.
Our next poet is, up next, we've got the list got a little weird. And then up next, we've got Piper. So welcome to the stage, Mitchell. Yay.
So I am going to read a couple of poems from the gig trail that we did down in Hamtramck at Book Suite. This poem is titled I Am From, after Where I'm From by George Elroy. I am from Penning, from moleskins and real Irish butter. I am from the lakeshore blocked by Colonel Sanders, damp air heavy on the walls. I am from the dirt under nails, the apple trees we planted. I am from love and denial, from Planowski and Thome. I'm from rough housing kids at heart and eating every meal like it's my last. I'm from don't stress his judgment and the face kept in a jar by the door. I'm from Alpina and the Mayflower, meat and potatoes, from the violence of kitchen utensils and an angry Polish woman full of love and voice and contradictions. Then the second one, I just like, I've read it a couple of times at these events, but you know, why not? It's called I can speak, I promise. Eyeball Alley, and this is after Mary Ruefle's poem, High School. I went to Alpena High School, where hallways were alleyways, painted with eyeballs from floor to ceiling and wall to wall, graffiti of toxicity coursing through veins and bloodshot eyes of overworked and underpaid farmhands, where lawns were cultivated for something other than knowledge and mines were farm fields specializing in textbooks from the era of our parents, where we were taught that drowning could happen on hardwood gymnasium floors, this is a true fact, but that acting and art would get us nowhere while trapped, surrounded by nowhere. So, up next we have Piper. And then on deck, we have Zachary.
Yeah.
I'm Piper. I'm notables, so I'll read my haikus and one other. I've never done this before. In front of people, I've done videos, but nothing in front of anyone, so this is new for me. And I apparently don't title my poems. That seems finished, and I don't finish many of mine. So these two haikus, the first one was the one that I won for, and then the other one was a submission. Infinite intent dances with wind and water, balancing the fire. Waves of synergy, he is beauty, she is beast, part of you and me. And I'm extremely motivated and inspired by nature, which is part of the reason why I submitted to this. So my other poem is also something inspired by nature. As the moon rises and the sun sets, they meet on the horizon for a quick little dance. A graceful exchange of power as the sun makes the sky twinkle with color. Saying goodnight to the struggles of the day and the moon's embrace, she lets out a little sigh and says she couldn't possibly be the light the world needs tonight. And the moon happily accepts the sun rose and says, oh, my darling stars so bright, I've waited all month for this. I'll absorb your darkness and you can rest. The shadow you cast can be finally gone. Can't you see that we are whole? That together we are one.
Buy me for your pretty nice. And instead of the poster, I guess it's not stealing technically. Okay. Next we've got Zachary, and then on deck we've got Thane. Here you go.
Hi. Hi. My name is Zachary T. I was also one of the Holmes poet winners. The haiku that I submitted was on Lake Erie. Table salts under rust factories in the cold. This is how we eat. But since this was highlighting some haiku poets, I thought I would bring I have a poem that was published by a friend over in Oklahoma. There's a recording on Spotify, but I also have these little mini zines that I hand out like Bible tracts. If anyone wants one, let me know and I'll give it to you. This is my set of haiku on focus and self-love. Focus on one thing. Ease your mind when it is done, just one at a time. How is your breathing? Slow your rhythm, gain control. You are strong alone. You must trust yourself before you can trust others. Strength comes from within. Don't be mistaken. We were created social. Together we breathe. Apart from the skin, we touch each other daily. We blend together. Go, find your color. Add it to every canvas, the richness of you. Do not be anxious. When someone else's yellow turns your light blue green, expect more changes than the ones you have now felt. Focus on one thing. How is your breathing? Slow your rhythm. Gain control. You are strong alone.
Exactly, just showing up and not saying who you are before you come up here and just read and stuff. Yeah, well, it was funny because Dominique and I were just back there being like, that's Zach. That's the haiku guy. Oh.
I didn't expect to
I
win.
didn't do that. So we're very happy to have you here. You came all the way from
Excellent.
Ypsilanti, right? Yeah, so thank you for coming on up here. Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun to have you here. And so up next, we have Thane, and then on deck, we have Jared.
First of all, I want to thank everybody backstage for allowing this to happen. Hi, Ollie. Thank you, everybody. And as I was driving here, I thought, how strange. This was written about 13 years ago in the church parking lot on pieces of scrap paper while I was crying. This was written 3 days ago in a deer blind. For those of you that don't hunt, believe me, there's therapy in the deer blind. Now I have to find it. What thing I really enjoy about hunting, it's not necessarily harvesting an animal. It's coming to terms with some of the stuff you've got on your mind. This one I simply call grateful. The gray one seems content. He moves from tree to tree, gathering tiny pieces of something. As confident as the old silverback I conversed with in the Toledo Zoo all those years ago. And I'm grateful. The two red ones are smaller. They are constantly teasing one another as they scurry from place to place on the forest floor, never bothering to notice the world around them, never stopping to converse with the cedars or the firs, seemingly content to aggravate one another like middle school children. And I'm grateful. Black one is much larger than the others, climbing effortlessly up and down the ancient spruce tree. I wonder, does he see color? Does he taste happiness? Is he alone by choice, or is his lover hidden somewhere high in the forest canopy? Is it food he seeks today, or is it joy? Do the sounds of the forest embrace him like a toddler's blanket? I wonder. Does the wind in his face bring him any sense of joy? As I ponder these things, I'm grateful. And I think of her, with her glasses and red hair and her love of these creatures. And I know in my heart of hearts that when life calls her, and though she loves to another part of the world, I will always be grateful. You see, I look at these forest creatures a little differently now. With slightly wider eyes and slightly wider smile. And for all of this, I'm grateful. Phone was back in 13 years ago. And 13 years ago, I rarely shared this. I don't consider myself a poet. I'm just a dude that writes stuff down and tries to cleanse his soul up again, so. I don't know if any of you have ever been to, St. John's Catholic Church here in Alpena. They have a beautiful stained glass window. And I was sitting in there. In fact, I'm gonna read the whole letter. And you'll get the point. I wrote this to my friend Chuck. Over the last couple of days, I have been slightly crying for you and your family. No, more than slightly. Oftentimes, these silent tears roll down my face. You're locked up inside, and only through these tears I'm shedding now can I share with you what's in my heart of hearts. I usually don't share these things, Chuck. I burn them, but not today. When I saw you hug Marley and take her up to the casket at the funeral home, my soul was both saddened and thankful. Thankful for being there at the birth of your grandson. Thankful for the memories of Ashley's beautiful smile, and thankful for the chance to call you and Kathy friends. As I drove home from the funeral, I envisioned Marley talking to her mom. I don't know where these random thoughts come from, Chuck, other than to say from my heart, God bless you and your family. I have no words, Chuck, other than these. Simply call this Tucking the Clouds. I wrote it from the perspective of his then 3-year-old daughter as I watched her and her family at the funeral. Yesterday, I put my pretty big wings on and went to see you. Grandpa and I were talking to you. Did you hear us? This room smells like spring. Why are you sleeping in that new bed, Mommy? With flowers all around, and you holding a rosary. You have a penguin in your bed. I love you, Mommy. Did you smell the daisies? Why is Grandpa crying? He told me that you get to wear wings now in heaven. Are they pretty, like mine, Mommy? Does everybody wear wings in heaven? I miss you, Mommy. Do people smile in heaven? Today, lots of people here are sad. Daddy is crying sometimes when he hugs me. Why is Grandpa crying, Mommy? Today, I wore this beautiful polka dot dress, and I put on this pretty necklace with pink dance shoes on it. Did you see it, Mommy? Can you see me from heaven, Mommy? I love to dance, just like you did. Grandpa says lots of people have come here today. They want to say goodbye to you, Mommy. And they want to say, hey, I love you, and Daddy, and Max, and me, and Grandpa, and all of us. And Courtney said, I love you, and you will always be her sister with a special letter. She couldn't read it, though. A nice lady had to read it to us. Mommy, why is Grandpa crying? When the man in the white robe was throwing water on your bed, Max was talking to you. Did you hear him? I think he said, I love you lots, Mommy. I love you too. Why is Grandpa crying? Well, Grandpa and I are leaving this place with the orange and yellow windows and sad people. Grandpa says tomorrow we will smile again. Whenever we look to heaven, we'll think of you, Mommy. Tomorrow, Grandpa and I can play and laugh and dance. Tomorrow will be a good day. Better than today, probably. Can I go outside, Mommy? It's raining, but that's okay. That will make these flowers smell nicer and grow bigger. I'm growing bigger too, Mommy. And as I grow, I will always look up at the sky and hug the clouds and say, I love you. We all love you. Maybe Grandpa will smile today. Maybe not. I love you, Mama.
I didn't get 10s across the board. I'm like, really, oh, now I'm getting, now it feels second. Now it doesn't feel like you love me. This feels like, okay. All right, sorry. Up next, we've got Jared, whose haiku was over by the bar. Conveniently placed, if I might say. And then on deck, we've got, let's do some announcements, and then I'm your last poet, so like, I know it's coming to an end. But welcome, Jared, all the way from home. With lighthouse sweater. Jared will tell you all about this lighthouse sweater.
Hi, they're all Michigan lighthouses on the sweater. I'm from Holland. So my haiku is just, great golden sand dunes, gulls calling in the distance, yellow flowers, blue.
Okay, so I have just a couple of announcements for closing, before Dominique comes up and does some reading. So, starting in January, the Poetics Lab will be having an event, I do believe every third Saturday, don't quote me on that quite yet, but every third Saturday at Pitt, Prescott Farm Cider. And then we'll be starting a youth night. So, like I said, we started an after-school poetry club, and then the participants in that after-school poetry club will get their own space to do some reading and stuff. So if you want to share that space with them, that will be held at Friendly Foodies. And we're gonna probably do 2 or 3 of those meetings next year. We won't be doing those monthly, but just kind of get our youth, toes in the water for that. We're really excited. Events in Detroit. We have our Books to Be workshops every other Saturday, 4 to 5:30 p.m. We have wordplay and libations every second Wednesday. And then our Midwest States of Being a poetry micro tour, aka Gig Trail, on April 11th in Ohio. I do want to also say that we had a goal of $1,200 tonight to, again, prompt us into the next year. And amazingly and gratefully, we reached that goal tonight. So thank you all for being here. It is absolutely amazing to have you all and to know that you are supporting us in this endeavor. It's definitely, a task Dominique and I, like I said, put in over 1,100 hours over the course of this year, and that is not even all of the hours that we want. So we definitely go through, we pour our heart and soul in this, and we absolutely love doing it. We absolutely love doing it for Alpena. We absolutely love doing it for Detroit and Hamtramck. And so it really, it brings joy to know that you all also love what we're doing. So thank you all again. And I also want to say thank yous again to Art Loft, to all of our community partners, and to everybody in the community. Can I get a round of applause for all of our community partners? The Cleveland Lane Foundation, thank you for being here. And then this is the last little announcement before I announce our final poets of the evening. Prescott Farm Cider is hosting an event tonight. It is like an electronic bass and drum mix kind of set. So if you're interested in hearing a little bit about or just hearing some cool music by one of the owners of Prescott Farm Cider, that is happening right across the street. That is also a free event. I do believe there are donation suggestions for that. But yeah, so that is the last little announcement. Again, thank you all so much for being here. And the last poet, I am the biggest fan of this poet. I've asked probably every open mic for one poem to be read. It is my absolute favorite poem. She told me no this time. Usually she tells me yes, but it's a no this time. It's okay. But I'm really excited about the pieces that she's bringing here tonight. She is absolutely amazing. One of my idols, one of my pure poetry. She's my inspiration for a lot of my poetry. So I absolutely love her. And please welcome to the stage, Dominique.
Flattery will get you everywhere. I've got 2 poems. You have to ask for the things that you want. So we're gonna do a kind of silly poem. Most of us are from the Midwest here, so we all naturally hate Ohio. Yes, they lost the game. Right? You don't condone fighting, that's bad, but also we won. And the Lions are doing good this season. I don't do a lot of sports, but those are the 2 sports that I care about. Baseball should be shorter. It's just my hot take, but later. But I have this poem, it's called Midwest versus Ohio. I hate Ohio. I love it. It's rough. But my friend Sam unfortunately lives there. So now I have to go to Ohio. And one night, while very drunk, Sam said this most beautiful quote, which is, "You're not stuck, you've chosen to care about something else." And so here's Midwest versus Ohio. We all hate Ohio. The whole state of 65-mile-per-hour highways patrolled by drones. What do dairy farmers know about gasoline? Their gas stations are called UDF, it's the United Dairy Farmers. I'm not joking. That's not in the poem, but you needed that information. It's just 4 hours. That feels like 4 hours. And you've driven past the same patch of corn playing I Spy, My Little Eye, a sign black and white and aggressive serif that reads hell is real. And sure, Ohio's got The Simpsons, Cedar Point, and your friend Sam, who rarely answers the phone. And one day they metastasize in your life, and you can't pinpoint the hour you realize they've got your heart. And how you fiercely love breathing shared laughs, so it's only 4 hours of the slowest drivers, and now you're bound to the state you hate for someone you can't live without. And it's also 4 hours to Alpena for Detroit, so that poem also works in reverse. Because all my friends live 4 hours away, I'm getting 10s across the board. And then we're gonna go into a sad poem, but it's gonna be okay. I don't typically give too many things before poems. The name of this poem is called Post-Election Blues. It is an election poem, but I promise you it's not the kind of election poem that you are mentally prepared for. And I'm giving you all this time now because my eldest sister died on November 6th. But when I was like years ago, 2012, I'm over it, but like not poetically. I'm giving you all this information. People are like, oh my God, the election. I'm like, oh yeah. The anniversary of my sister's death. So like I've always had really kind of confusing emotions the whole time. But I'm giving you all this information now before the poem. So it's not blues, it's blues. Post-election blues. And it's got an epigraph by Lucille Clifton, because I love Lucille. Justice Pullman's called Generations, and the first stanza reads, people who are going to be in a few years bottoms of trees bear responsibility to something besides people. Yes, you just call us tree bottoms, but post-election blues. I wake less human and more glob, thinking maybe Jimmy was right when he said burn it down, but I'm drawn to silly violences. A finger bite post-lotto purchase. Who drank my apple juice? An eradication of flies buzzing in the ear. Halloween 2012, my sister enters the hospital with 2 robots slapboxing on TV, oxygen tank leaned against the bed. She makes a promise to do my hair throughout high school, but each night she's becoming less human and more dim shimmer of Starburst stealing, 3 a.m. grilled cheese demanding get in my belly, you little rascals of earth and dream. Finally, the news. Obama won presidency. The death in the details. I swear, I'm not actively seeking new terrors, but like perennial daggers, if left to myself, I will spontaneously combust. I remember each prestation of her going again and again. In each election, I won't be able to feel the result of our national gloom, a world unconsumed with desire to be more tissue and bony muscle snapped extremities who remain to remain someone. And maybe that's what my professor meant in 2016 when we gathered in the aftermath of our spiraling, that she had survived the dogs, an awful stench of gasoline and blood that never washes out, and she lived. And we will live beyond this 4-year drag of what comes next. So no, I don't want to analyze what 2024 feels like group nightmares trying to write about peace. My mama don't talk about that reverend who said if it's her time to go, then let her go. Grief has always been here. Black ripped jeans, punk rock emo band making out behind dumpsters, Lucy cigarette trapped between fingers waiting for me, even though I've outgrown the box dye and want something else. So please, won't you celebrate me? just this once. Dance oversized t-shirt, confidence, face blooming, glass of top so hard your teeth might shatter. Drink out the hole, stay outside until the street lights turn on and get your ass in this house before it comes for you. Because one day we'll wake as bottoms of trees and the revolution won't feel like the revolution, and June will be there. Auntie arms swinging as we watch the first bloom of our mother's garden. This is a shameless plug to the Book City workshops. So these poems were actually written at Creative Nonfiction Club that happens at Book City, because they do creative nonfiction, poetry, and flash fiction. So if you're ever looking for a place to write poems and you happen to be near me, you should just come on over. You too can write cool poems about sadness. Mitchell.
Final things. Thank you all again for being here, and thank you to all of our marvelous poets who read today and who have participated in all of our workshops and our Worms Haiku competition. We are very excited to be in this space, to be sharing this space with you, and we look forward to doing it again and again and again. So, a couple of last things. I want to make sure if you have a tab at the bar, please see me up at the front register of Art in the Loft. I will be taking care of your tab. If you are a Holmes Haiku winner and you are here, please make sure to grab your check from the one and only Dominique. Dominique will make sure that you get that going, and please make sure that you take your sign as well. So
Don't take someone else's sign, that's rude.
yeah, don't take a sign if you haven't. If you did not win, don't take the sign. If you did win, take only your sign. And so yeah, thank you. Dominique has started saying, we release you in peace. And so I would love to, in peace and love.
Peace and love.
So I would like to continue that tradition. The Poetics Lab releases you in peace and love. Thank you so much.
Did it! Oh, that's a live today. That is in the live stream.